I always encourage all of my students to pick a rider whose body is a similar type to
Mm.
yourself and try to think of that rider and how that rider rides and how that could work for you.
What are three little things that each listener can do to become more quiet, stylish riders that they can like immediately apply to their riding after they finish listening to this podcast and they go to the barn today?
Well, I talk about this in the masterclass. Number one is ride without stirrups. As much as we all hate to do it, it's so helpful. And it's helpful for your balance, but it's also helpful for your strength. It really gets your strength, your base secure and strong. And the more you can ride, when I was a kid, my trainer, when I was 11 years old, he would come once a week to my house to give me a riding lesson on my pony. And he would take my stirrups with him when he left. And he said, "I'll see you next
Oh
week."
my God.
And he'd call my parents and say, "Don't you dare buy him another pair of stirrups." I took them. So you got to do it, and as painful as it is, you got to do it. So that's probably number one. That helps. Two other things that you can use that practice is put a stirrup leather around the neck. Sort of where the martingale goes, but a little bit farther, because sometimes martingales can come back quite close to the saddle. And if you put a stirrup leather sort of in the middle of the neck and really think of keeping your hands, even you can partially hook your finger into the stirrup
Mm-hmm.
leather and ride like that for a little while. It really teaches your hands to be quiet. And you can even jump like that. And I actually like that exercise a lot. That's a really good exercise to teach your hands to be as quiet as possible. And of course, the quieter your hands are, the quieter your body is. So that's another great thing. And then the final thing that I tell virtually all of my riders who have, difficulty with their position over the jump and smoothness over the jump is, as you're arriving at the fence, raise your eye and look up. People really look down a lot when they're riding. They're really and when the head goes down, the balance goes forward
Everything.
and everything falls apart. And you really have to practice keeping your eye level up and looking up. And especially when you arrive at the jump, if you raise your eye level off the ground as you're arriving at a jump, your balance is so much better in the air and on the landing. If you pick a point and look at it, it really helps your balance. So those would be my three
Oh
things
my
of
gosh.
what to do that you can, particularly the stirrup leather, putting it around the neck and your
Mm-hmm.
eye level up. Those are quick fix things that can really help. Riding without stirrups is not such a quick fix thing, but is something that the more you do it, the better you will be. I promise you that.